also going to get some feedback on my video analysis.
Yeah.
So this is what I have so far.
Let's do it. Do you have a play blast of it?
I do. I did erase a
okay.
few things from the play blast.
Mhm.
I mean, like when I.
Then let's just do a play blast. It's really quick.
Okay. Make sure the settings are from Windows.
Well, did you set if you set your scene preferences? Yeah, just do from render settings.
Oh, okay.
You should always either do render settings or custom, but never window, because Windows is going to be based off how big it is at the time.
I see.
So let's just do that really quick, I guess. No, the reason I wanted to play like it feels
Jittery?
skippy. Because image planes are kind of heavy. Okay, you got the right. They're kind of heavy on Maya. Oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah, he's really slow at the end. I was kind of noticing that a bit. Most of the speed is like within like the middle, where he kind of brings his arms in and leans over.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Because that's what movement is. Sometimes you're gonna have quick movements. Sometimes you're gonna have slow ones. Sometimes you have ones that gradually come to an end. Sometimes you're gonna have some that are gonna be abrupt.
Yeah. And of all the video references for the beginner one, I genuinely like this one.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you don't have to go for a lot of poses to have something nice because there's so many details to keep track of.
Yes, there are.
So I think the way you constructed the guy was good.
Yeah, and I kind of took note of what you were talking about, like in regards to the hands and stuff, because he does kind of have like punch fist, and then his hands kind of open as like he kind of spreads his arms out and brings them in. So.
And that could be something that. Now I noticed that that's all blurry, so just do your best to interpret what he was doing. That's fine.
Yeah, the hand actually looks like it's kind of like that almost, like when he has.
So if you see, okay, the hand's not really that wide. Just get the general gist of what he's doing, and we can sort it out. But if you're putting some thought into it, that's another detail that's going to add to how he does that. And also, the only thing I would say is, again, as I was saying earlier, the feet, like be really clear about what's going on.
I think this is up. Like when he's kind of leaning over, I think that's up, like the heel.
Exactly. But the question is, when you look at your duo, can you pick that up?
Oh, okay.
And will you remember later on? Yeah, and again, you don't have to do anything complex. Now, there's another thing at work, and that is one of his legs is kind of aimed like at the camera. It's kind of at an angle, but it's kind of like so. Foot comes up, and then that guy is about the same. I mean, they're not. I don't know how to explain it, but that's essentially your staging. It's because it's aimed at the camera. So this is where you as an animator go, okay. Actually, it started off like that. So technically, in your first pose, that staging is not bad. Right? So the foot is technically doing that. The other one is kind of doing this. But again, it's kind of at the camera, so that's where you go, okay, I want to make that even more clear. And then you go, okay, I want that foot more. It's still going to be aimed at the camera, just not as much.
Okay, then.
So you just turn it more, and then you'll be able to see more clearly. Oh, am I lifting that heel more?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that then. Cause I did start some animating with the 3D model, but nothing too complex because I was focusing more on getting feedback on this. Because I think by getting feedback on this, it'll help me when I go to do my actual animating. Because they're very connected. So.
So with this leg, you can go in two directions. You can do what I did, where it was change the other direction. But in this case, I think it's more, it's ambiguous. So you have to decide. Yeah.
Okay then. Excellent. I'll totally keep that in mind then when I begin.
I do think there is room for exaggeration, like say for the squash, like go lower.
Okay, so
And
probably bring
show.
the head down a little bit more, like the body down.
I would say when you want to show weight, focus more here. Like when you look at, for example, if I want to show that something is heavier, there was a lot more weight on
Wouldn't
it.
knees kind of bend more?
Yes, that's one. Like bend the knees a lot more, which in turn means you're gonna have to bring the hips lower.
Ah, okay.
How much? Well,
really
again,
depends.
as I was telling somebody earlier, let's say this is my original down pose.
Yeah, from the video.
It's okay. And you look at it, okay, the knees are bad, whatever. But when you do it, when you want to exaggerate, don't go, okay, well, I'm exaggerating.
That's not much of a change at all.
No, like go big. Go.
Greater gap almost.
I'd be doing something like this, like really low, like almost twice as much as what you think you need. And then where you're putting the hips, and then as far as the weight goes, because remember when you're doing a down pose, think back to where you were doing the walk. Obviously, the walk in this is different. This is going to be different. It's based off your reference, but you have your contact pose, and then what would happen in your down pose is that so you got your down pose, and then the weight or your hips, the weight or the hip, you're going to have that. It's going to be feeling off. Your hip, most of your weight is going to be like over the foot that just landed. Okay, so when you do this, that's going to determine where your hips are going to be, but also what are you doing with your hips. So in this case, this is saying I'm starting to tilt the weight in this direction. That's what this pose says to me. So in this case, if what we were really doing is shifting the weight over in this direction, then that exaggerated down pose should have been like over here, like so. And you figure out depending on what the foot placement was. And it's really clear. Worst thing that's going to happen is we move further along is, wow, that looks really crazy, or we end up with too much up and down and it doesn't look right or something. But that's fine because we can always dial it down. It's when it hasn't been pushed enough that, the animation, it moves, but it feels like it's lacking something. Let's see. For your passing pose, if you really wanted to show that this is a passing pose, I'd shift the weight more over here. Just remember, passing poses tend to look like this. If you look at them from the front, and whenever we talk about that way, usually we use the center of the hips as a gauge. Like this is where all the meat bag is, proverbial meat bag that we are, and all this weight, and this is the structure that's holding all that weight.
Wouldn't that bend then if it were kind of like transitioning a little bit?
Well, it depends, because when you're in the passing pose, all the weight is over there, and then this just pushed off. The part where it bends is when it comes back down. In this case, you're starting to get to the point where you're going to be in, I guess, free fall. I guess.
Okay.
So yeah, the arms, the feet. This is okay, although remember, with IK, you're not really going to have that straight of a leg pose. Now, another thing I would say is, it looks like you have keys on every single frame. That shouldn't happen even when you do have your breakdowns. The only time you would have something like that is when you have something that's happening like crazy fast, maybe. Which there are kind of moments like that. So you might end up with maybe a couple, but not all of them. So just be careful. Yeah. Now, like these two poses are actually kind of the same.
Oh, okay.
So in this case, what I'd be doing is maybe extreme. Your extremes should, remember, your extremes are going to be usually, it'll either kind of feel like a key pose, or it'll also be the lowest moment or the highest moment, or something crazy, big, and obvious is happening. So,
yeah, like he's really flailing his arms out.
So I guess since you were working first with your extremes, yeah, so this will definitely be an extreme. Let's see. Is it because you're easing out? Let me double check. make sure I'm following along, because we all use, and he's mentioned it too, that the animation terminology, somebody might tell you something slightly different. I'm trying to be as on the ball as possible so I don't end up confusing you or letting you down. Anticipation, zero issues, squashes. So technically, I mean, just the fact that you're putting thought into it. If I was grading you, I'm not gonna dock you because you have two poses that look too similar. At least I'm seeing that you're trying to work that out.
Yeah, because my goal was to get as much information as possible. Yeah.
So I think what's going to happen is you might, somewhere along you're going to have to trim away some poses, because if you animate that on once, that's going to make the animation end up looking
a little jittery.
Yeah.
A little jittery. I can kind of see.
And I guess something I would recommend is, as far as figuring out what to keep and what to let go.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it, I bet, has to do with the fact that this arm is doing all this stuff. First, I would do is get at the whatever kind of poses you have that help define that arc. Those are definitely breakdowns. Some that you might end up using extra is, if, let's say, around here he slows down, you might have an extra breakdown here or here to show where he's going. If that happened, if it doesn't, then no, this is one I would get rid of. So that means he's going to come in and out of there quick. So then in that case, maybe here, that might be one. That's a breakdown. That's another one.
Yeah, because in the past I've always been told that I've done too little, so I've kind of changed it where I do a bit more, and then I kind of do a subtraction method. And I usually find that to be easier.
That can work too.
Yeah, no.
But the only potential pitfall is still ending up with too many keys.
Yeah.
And I guess.
And then if you deduct something that you actually needed, then yeah. There's a pro and con to just about everything.
I guess what I was trying to point out with all this, and this might make it clear, is keep any breakdowns because something very specific is happening there, or because the spacing contributes to showing that. For example, remember that spacing-wise, what this means is that this is accelerating.
Yeah.
So that might be something, but if something is happening really quick, it's okay if there's a big gap. And let's see. I tend to bring this up a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this particular image.
Oh my god.
You might think, oh, that's somebody that photoshopped all this and
this is an actual screenshot of someone with a pause at the right time.
Yes.
And they ended up catching.
No, but they did do a little bit of Photoshop. The eye wasn't doing that. But if you go to okay, here we go. Mute that. Stop.
I've actually caught some similar
Where's the hair stuff? The arm. Here we no, that's the hair. It's belt. No, it's after the eggs. That's why. Okay. With the eggs. Here we go. Stops over here, and it's almost like he's wrestling himself.
Yeah.
And I guess it's gonna jug. Oh, that's kind of weird. That's chugging. There we go. Okay. So in this case, they wanted to show him. I don't know what the reasoning is, but he was going, and then he pops out. And in that case,
it almost looks like
they spaced it out. Look where his head is here.
Yeah.
And then look over here. Look at that big ass jump.
Yeah, it just looked. It was just. Oh my gosh. It was just.
Yeah.
And then the arm, it almost looks like it's kind of like not connected properly.
But it's staged well.
Yeah.
You can see that he's doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, they do all sorts of. This is when we get to the when we're just focusing on breakdowns. Like, yeah, you might end up with something that looks crazy like that. But anyway, the point I was trying to make by showing you that is that when it comes to figuring out what to keep and what to leave, if you know that, let's say, at a certain point he's going full speed, and you have 4 breakdowns just to show that he's moving from here to here, you really just need this one and then this one.
Yeah, because it's going to kind of be like a pause.
Remember, all we really want to do is
Yeah.
Keep the poses that are going to tell Mike where we want it to go and what we want it to do. And then Maya's going to in between stuff for us.
Oh, yeah, of course, with the auto.
And then because you're following your reference, some of the timing that you're capturing from analyzing your reference is also going to be applying spacing to.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Because again, it's not about having a smooth. That when you look at this, that it looks smooth. It's more like, okay, are these poses that? Okay, again. Actually, let's do another. Quick. Yeah, the settling looks good.
Okay. Nice.
And then the other thing is that you're trying to exaggerate, so is there anything there that you can push even further? So like, for example, there where the arms are going up, and this is John that he says that in the video, I think he said it in lecture too. Compared to anything we ever had, we're going to be stiff. And a lot of it is we're trying to, hey, let's keep this whole system in balance. It's not fall.
Yeah.
We're going to get hurt and die. But in there, for example...
And this is a little bit too straight, so I guess this can be curved a bit more.
Yes.
That can be curved.
For example, if he was doing like this, in that pose, instead of looking like that, you would have, okay, so he was doing this and whatever else.
Yeah. And believe it or not, my biggest
the weight was still over there.
And believe it or not, my biggest concerns personally are like, because like how it starts out is like where he's kind of like has like his chest out and like his arms back, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't want to make that too straight. So like, how am I gonna? But
well, this is the time to figure it out.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to actually, because like I said, I have started, but I want to kind of go further and further, and of course get some feedback today, as much feedback today as possible, before the weekend arrives, so that way I can, of course, apply any and all feedback and any and all corrections, and potentially get a higher grade. So, yeah.
So that's something I would do there.
Yes.
If you want to show that he's going like that, then this is how I'm showing that there's going to be some drag there.
Yes. Okay. So I might potentially go ahead and fix up some, spines and.
But I think overall you're in a good place. So if you need, you'd rather have be able to get some feedback today for your block out.
Yes.
And you haven't started yet, or you haven't put a lot of stuff. Go work on that. And then talk to me, talk to Mom.
Oh, of course. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, otherwise you
excellent.
Going in the right direction. Labels are good.
Awesome, perfect. Thank you. I am so hungry. All right, John. That should be good and working. As soon as I eat, I'm starving. I should return. Oh yeah. Anything about the cell? Are you still doing some research?
I'm still doing research.
I forgot this.
This is important in the sense of, yeah, we're trying to see how to apply the users' legs. Other thing you have to be aware of is English language. I'm expecting to see, we're all expecting to see, two, we'll get a video, you see, we've got video, look, on the and so, okay, this is where you should be going in here. Okay, take the post first, try to get the most. Once you get on your records, find your ready. Example, right off the bat, look. It's been why doesn't it do record also? It's a composition. Any moment the red so I don't think this problem is you see it's gray. So would you either like this word? So yeah, remember it up to the right frame. Alright, this is your frame. And you were to turn this in right now, okay, but you might have seen the overall the composition is this. It's your guy in the middle of the screen. It's not good. Everything is symmetrical. So just like when you're creating poses, you're trying to strive to have asymmetry. Same thing with position. So no, there's multiple places. It's this vertical. So what you want to do with it? Yeah, just imagine these lines, working everything in the quadrants, and all you're trying to do is place your subject, thing of interest, in the right place. So, where you place it, depending on the action. Here, again, this is where the camera points. Look what happens to this pose. It looks flat. It looks like it's just we turn it. Oh, it's bending. Oh, it's shifting its way. Oh, it looks like generally speaking, we get the move your main controller first, get whatever means, and then push it just as much. I would recommend taking a oh, you have a toggle. Okay. That's when you set that up. Because when you have a toggle, okay, I'm glad you should do it other ways. The reason you don't want to use that is this makes it just so this fine because you have a toggle. It's just I think it's just gonna happen. Yeah, it's added. It's added onto it. So that's what the toggle is. Whenever I have a floor active, to avoid that, there's two choices. One is I think you set it to clear. So you just add a clear. Here. Just add that. Stop that from happening. You do this, it'll clear anything that's looking for. And then this gets a toggle. Other thing you can do is works the same way. Ground middle first. That flag is do that again. The cases are like that. I specifically just want this to be possible for information. Or you cut this away. Or you stop that there. Leave that for I say what So in some of the video references, you're going to see that John had to do with something. What was it? I was borrowing and then after doing, I was like, shit, I'm going to say something for so I was trying to think of what was he telling me to do. And he waited. Still there. So it wasn't best to be there. You didn't want to kick these balls. Just to say, later on, took that ball over his shoulder. Just have him go, guess what? 2. Those 3. All it is, you hold it, you let it see it, and we can actually
So what feedback did you get?
Overall, mine was good. He liked it. He said that maybe if I would make if I were to change up a couple of things, it would probably just be such as like curving the spine a bit more. Also, maybe kind of like deducting some of them because he noticed that some of the drawings were very similar. The changes were very small. So, but in my book, it's always been kind of a good thing to have excess because then you can kind of deduct instead of like being stuck in that pit where it's like you don't have really anything to work with. You got to do more, So I've always kind of worked that way before, But he said overall that I really had a great understanding of it. And as far as naming convention goes, did a relatively good job with it,